Before we get into the podcast, I want to let you guys know, if you're not following the Telegram, you can't win the £500 cash that we're going to be giving away. The link is in the top of the description. Soon as we get to 5,000 followers in that Telegram, one of you is getting 500 quid. So go follow and enjoy the new podcast.
We're on one to 10 followers.
All right.
It's been a good week.
It's been a great week. Now give me my bloody hammer back. I'm going to put this straight through my screen in a minute if we don't get 3 more points.
The hammer of Chelsea law.
This weekend. You see what I did there? I'm going to use this hammer more often if Chelsea is still doing bad. Yes, guys. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the podcast. 3 more points. It's been a couple of weeks since we last did one, and I think it's probably for a good reason, to be fair. Things have just gone further downhill, and I'm feeling personally desperate for 3 more points. Not necessarily the pod, maybe you are, hopefully you are, but more so just like, I just really need Chelsea to start winning. Don't we, Harry? Producer Baz, tell me.
We do, mate. We need a pick-me-up. We need a performance. We need 3 points in the bag.
We do.
We need your desk to not be melting from the incense that I accidentally burnt on it.
Yeah, we found out this morning that Harry was trying to keep things from me.
George has been trying to work out all week why the player on his desk was melting. I'm sorry.
So I've peeled it off now.
I thought now would be a good time to come clean about what happened.
There is a dent in my desk. But it's fine. It's fine because we're going to put a dent today in Aston Villa, hopefully at the weekend. But more so, I want to discuss in this video a little bit about the differences between Aston Villa and Chelsea.
Yeah.
I think Aston Villa right now, if you were to look on the surface, you'd say that Aston Villa are maybe where we could expect to be, which is like on the cusp of being top 4, because I think realistically, we probably aren't going to be challenging for a long time. So if we taper it down, and we're happy to taper it down, Aston Villa playing some good football, scoring a load of goals, we would love for that to be the case for Chelsea, wouldn't we?
Yes, we would.
But what is it about Aston Villa that is the difference as to why they can go ahead, actually score a load of goals, win football matches, but Chelsea cannot? And how do we transition that into making sure that we set up the right way on Sunday and beat them?
Yeah.
What do you think? First of all, Aston Villa, tell me about how they play football.
They're really good. They attack really well.
Top level analysis. Thank you for being here.
They attack really well. I haven't watched loads of them this season, but I know they attack well. I like the signings that they made. Diaby's very, very good.
Yeah.
I actually thought, I remember watching when we signed Havertz? They were playing for the same team.
Yeah.
When we signed Havertz, I was like, that's the guy we should sign.
Bayer Leverkusen.
I remember watching him scoring goals for Leverkusen, and I thought he looked great.
It's very direct.
Yeah, they've just got a good system. They play well, and they've done it over time. They've not just rushed all these players in like we have. So they've got something to build on, and they've bled the players in, as we keep talking about.
They have. And I think when you look at, let's say, for example, Unai Emery as a manager, really, really good manager, I would say maybe the reason at Arsenal it didn't go so well is because he's a bit too defensive. He's quite conservative while still being direct. But how can he come into Aston Villa, a club that were obviously not doing well, in which case they went and fired Steven Gerrard, who they thought was going to be like a project manager, build him to go to the top. They bring in Emery, which is a massive name, won European titles, Europa League albeit, but still a winner, a serial winner. And then within almost an instant, Emery comes into Aston Villa and the whole energy and as a result of that results shifts at the club.
Yeah.
What do you think it is maybe about Aston Villa that is enabling them to, they've spent a lot of money on players, they have.
Yeah.
But how can just one change of a manager have such a difference?
Well, we used to see it with us all the time. We always got that new manager bounce. And it was always
This is exactly the point I wanted you to make.
Yeah, and it's so... We didn't get it last season, though. And I think new manager bounce only works when the players sort of know what to do anyway in that environment, whereas our players don't actually know what it's like to win in the Premier League.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think in order to round up this point here that we're talking about, why are Aston Villa just so much better than us right now? It really is as simple as any manager could have come into Chelsea last season and we would have sucked.
Yeah.
Proverbial you-know-whats. But we can't finish. We can't score.
Yeah.
And I think because we can't score, no matter who it is, it doesn't put Emery above Pochettino in any kind of like managerial hierarchy as to who is better and who is worse. But I think Chelsea this weekend, surely Pochettino has to be looking at Aston Villa as a perfect mould in terms of like, what do they have and what are we going to do? Like Diaby, I would say Sterling or a Mudryk could be a Diaby for Chelsea.
Yeah.
What do you think of Mudryk's performance against Bournemouth last week? Because I know that we're both a bit like about the guy.
Like I think I was because we chose not to stream the last game because I think we were both sort of feeling like this might not be the one to do. I think we were both a bit like we don't want to be like contribute to like the toxic vibe that's going on right now if this goes south.
Which I thought it would.
Which we thought it would, and it did. And we were just like it's not worth it. Like it's not worth. Like what value do we add if the game's running badly and we're getting like we don't want to become like an Arsenal fan TV or something like that when they were putting out that content where it was just like reactions to losses basically.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to be part of that.
Yeah.
So we decided not to. I think like Mudryk during the game was really frustrating me, but I think when he just plays the game, does the simple things well, I think he's trying so hard to look good. I don't care. I just want you to be effective. So watching the game, I felt like there was a few moments where he did little flicks or little touches that were unnecessary, and he tried to do too much in the wrong areas. There was a point where where we were back defending, and you were looking at the shape of the team, and you were like, "Why is Mudryk in the box defending? Why isn't he the furthest guy forward, waiting for the ball to fall to him so he can break?"
Yeah,
you know, and I don't know if that's something that he's been told to do, but it would surprise me given he's like literally the fastest player in the league.
Yeah,
that didn't make much sense, but I felt like a lot of our players in the final third, just ineffective, basically, was my overriding feeling watching him.
And is this game against Aston Villa a team who can play?
Yes.
Everything I've been saying up until this point that we've both said on the podcast before, but every video that I make right now, I say the same thing. Chelsea cannot play against the low block. And then even when we're playing against the low block and we have chances, we can't put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
So fundamentally, the problem is that we can't score. Aston Villa are not going to be, in my opinion, the same as the Nottingham Forests and even the Bournemouths last weekend, who actually were more defensive than I thought they would be. But it's like they get the model now of how to play against Chelsea. So is it going to be a case potentially that Chelsea will do better against these teams like your Aston Villas?
Well, it might work in our favour because I think teams will have watched us and they'll think we're quite toothless. So I think it might lull teams into a false sense of security because I'm hoping on the day it clicks, we're going to absolutely batter someone.
That's how I'm thinking we win this game.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, right, well, look at what Aston Villa did last weekend. They're 1-0 down against Palace. They're playing against a really good, well-organised team. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the game, they explode, which tells me just how good they can be once they've kind of got some of these early season teething issues done. But then at the same time, I think when you see the results they've had so far this season, they lost 5-1 at Newcastle, who are not really the most attacking team in the world. Then they got battered. No, they beat Everton 4-0, which is a good result, but also not that difficult to see. They beat Hibernian 5-0, which again, Hibernian.
Yeah.
Then they won 3-1 at Burnley. And then they got battered at Liverpool. And then last week they still managed to score 3 goals. So either way, Aston Villa are either absolutely scintillating or they're getting hammered by teams that go at them.
Yeah, it's interesting because like when Emery first came in, I feel like he set them up in quite a structured shape and they were quite defensive.
Yeah.
This season it looks like they've got a lot of goals in them.
That's why I think Villa are so good because I think the players they've brought in facilitate that kind of shift, which is, right, now we understand the shape that Emery brings. We understand the style that he can implement to any given team that he goes and takes over.
Yeah.
Now we're going to add a bit of excitement. We're going to add some quick, pacey players. We're going to get forward fast. We're going to put balls in the box. And then we've got good goal scorers, people that can actually finish.
Yeah, they do that thing that we've been trying to do where they have like a 3 that defend and then one of the fullbacks bombs forward and attack, and they usually pick their side and attack that side. So
Matty Cash has been the boy.
Matty Cash or Luca Dean's been getting some goal contributions as well. I didn't watch them in the last couple of games, but I know that typically like one of them will sit and the other one will press. So I know normally Alex Moreno is the guy who does that.
Yeah.
But he's been injured, so Cash has been going forward. Luca Dean, I'm a fantasy player, and Luca Dean's the biggest FPL troll ever, so I can't speak about the guy. But but no, their team's good. It's balanced. Is Tielemans even starting for them? I'm not sure.
No, he's not been getting in the team.
Which is mad because everyone was he was highly touted a few years ago.
Well, I think that just shows how good Emery is because it's like, right, okay, well, okay, he was free, but it doesn't really
Yeah.
make any kind of judgment as to whether or not he's a better or worse
Yeah.
player than someone you spend 40 or 100 million on.
I mean,
this is a great thing. Like, how many of the Aston Villa players would you say on paper get in the Chelsea
well, I was
team?
just about to say, like, can you imagine Ollie Watkins up front for us?
Yeah, we'd be banging in. But we'd probably be 6th in the league.
I think it'd be quite good.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
It'd
quite
be very good.
So yeah. Now that he is like the number 9, he's not competing with Danny Ings anymore. He's loving it.
Yeah,
he's loving it, and he's absolutely he's thriving in it. He's smashing it, and yeah, they're scoring for fun at the minute. They're free flowing. They're just a really solid team, and they've bought well. They've bought players that know how to play in Europe, and yeah, they did. It's funny because like all the players they bought, we could have bought. I think that's why the reason like the model we've gone with is so curious and so frustrating as a fan. Like none of us have signed up to this.
Yeah.
And like if I was like if one of us was in charge of the signings, like maybe you would have signed Diaby over like a Mudryk, for example. But he wasn't that profile of like under 21. The certain stats they look at and whatnot. But I mean, how many get in the Chelsea side? I think the goalkeeper probably does. I think.
Although Sanchez was good against Bournemouth.
Yeah, but that's one
due.
small sample size. But yeah. But you have Martinez probably on the balance of things.
Yeah.
I don't think any of their defenders would get in our team, which might be controversial. But I think our defense is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Would you have any of them?
No. No, I actually wouldn't. I think our defense is actually really, really good.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe.
Imagine if it was bad, like because teams don't expect us to score against them right now. They think we're very profligate, which we are. So they're not afraid of our attacks. Therefore, they attack more freely. So the fact we're not conceding too many goals is quite.
Yeah,
telling.
I actually wouldn't have any of their defenders over ours. I would just still stop having multiple centre backs that are unnecessary on the pitch at all times. And I
what about what was their starting midfield last game?
Starting midfield last game was Boubacar Kamara.
Yeah.
And Douglas Luiz in a 4-2-3-1 with John McGinn,
Yeah.
Diaby and Zaniolo just ahead of them. And then Ollie Watkins up front. That's actually a really
I forgot
strong...
they had Zaniolo.
Yeah, new signing.
I actually am a massive fan of McGinn. I think he's really
John
good.
McGinn, he's brilliant.
I think he's class.
And he's very good against Chelsea too.
But would he start for Chelsea right now?
Are
we arrogant? Like I'm listening to these names and I'm just like
this is where doing a preview for a game like this is actually significantly more interesting, because now we get to actually break down why maybe Chelsea aren't very good. When I look at all of these players here, I'm looking at players who take on instructions and then immediately become better players.
Yeah.
At the moment, these Chelsea players are taking on instructions and becoming significantly worse players. And I don't for one second believe that Pochettino is stupid.
No.
I don't think Pochettino is a bad manager. At first, it took me a while to get used to the fact he was in charge because I just didn't like the Tottenham reference. But I'm way over that now.
Yeah.
Some people have been Poch out. What do you think about that take since the Bournemouth game?
No, not for me.
Good. We don't even have to go into too much about that.
We don't. There's nothing.
I'm totally the same.
There's nothing. There's nothing to say. Like there's not. I don't think there's going to be a point for me where I'm going to be Poch out. I don't, because I
mean, surely in the history of time there might be.
There might be, but like a lot has to change before I can start considering him to be the main factor in us not performing well. But I just did want to say that like going through that team, because I don't want to dismiss the Villa team. I'd have Ollie Watkins, I'd have Diaby in the starting lineup for sure.
Yeah,
I've not watched enough of Zaniolo, but I know he's highly rated. I used to love him in FM.
I take all of their team right now so that we can actually put a team together because we're all flipping injured.
But yeah, like a couple of key players. I mean. Yeah, but like based on reputation and like what we think the individual talents we have are, like we should be all right.
We should be all right, but it's just like how many games?
But I do think like something has to change with these injuries. There's got to be something going on. It's 2 seasons on the trot now. We're having half our squad injured.
I mean, I've said it, and people are like, "Well, you can't really say that because how do you know?" Like, I've been Cobham, and the grass looks bloody lovely. But surely there's got to be something wrong that half the squad can be injured.
Did you see that?
Already? The season's not even like a fifth of the way through yet.
Did you see that like controversial message feed from Instagram in the week that was Trevoh Chalobah's supposed...
I did see that.
But then it turned out he wasn't actually his physio, but was like working with his mate or something.
Yeah.
And he basically said that they were loading the players too much in weight training, I suppose. So as soon as they were, putting any load on their bodies, they were just getting injured. And there must be something going on. There must be, because it's 2 seasons now, half the squad injured. take any team in the league, injure 11 of their players, some of which are their best players, any team's going to struggle. Any team.
Yeah, well, look at Guardiola. He's got 5 key players out injured, which is not even half the amount Chelsea do. And he's like, I think this is going to be a bit of a problem. We're just going to have to see for now.
Yeah, so,
you know what I mean?
And also, like, especially in the phase we're in where there's no established patterns of play yet, we're building something, we're getting used to each other. Yeah. I just don't think you can underestimate the impact of these injuries. And I was watching a podcast the other day with London's Blue podcast, Matt Law, and he was talking about the injury crisis at Chelsea, and he was saying that normally Pochettino, from his time at Spurs, would never really speak about injuries. He'd never use them as an excuse. He'd say, that's why you have a squad, you find solutions. But this is like one of the first times in his career, Matt was saying, Pochettino has pointed to the injuries and said, we can't be at our best because we haven't got our best players. So that shows you some of the pressure he's under as well. Yeah,
but it's also, I think, when you look at the injury list, like the profiles of the players that are in there, like just off the top of my head, 3 important ones. Nkunku, Caicedo, Reece James. All 3 of those players, for what we saw in pre-season, are and would be absolutely key to get Pochettino playing the way that he wants his Chelsea team to play.
Yep.
So with that being said, let's move into trying to agree, if we can, on a starting 11 for the weekend. Okay. There's a lot of people that were excited about Badiashile coming back, but guess what? He's injured as well, isn't he? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he has a minor setback for his return, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. So he's not there.
But you see how we're laughing?
I'm at this point now. This is the only way I'm going to be able to make content.
Yeah.
Is if I just kind of laugh it off, hope for the best, and expect the worst.
If we can't laugh about it, then it's over, isn't it? So.
Well, yeah. Otherwise, then it's a capitulation, and we're putting these on our own kneecaps, which is not the point. But I just really like having this hammer around.
Yeah.
Don't worry. It's okay.
It's the ADHD, mate.
It is the ADHD. You're damn right. But goalkeeper-wise, I'm just saying Sanchez straight off the bat because I think he did well against Bournemouth, and credit where credit's due. Kept his place last week, keeps it again.
Haven't even seen the number 2 play, Petrovic. So yeah.
No. Okay. I will say, and then just agree with me or disagree with me, and then I'm going to put it on the screen for everyone to see.
All right.
Gusto.
Yeah.
Thiago Silva.
Yeah.
Levi Colwill. Ben Chilwell.
Yeah. Done.
Can we please have that at Stamford Bridge? Like, just try and start Chilwell in left back, just to see. You know, like look at games last season. Look against West Ham. I know it was more like we were playing wing back systems again at times, but like when he scored that late goal, that's the Chilwell I want to see.
But there's a suggestion in my mind from Pochettino that he's not a very good one-on-one defender, which I've never seen as to be an issue in his game.
So could we put Maatsen in there? But is he going to do that now?
What I'm saying is I don't think that Chilwell has a problem defensively.
I don't think so either.
I've not seen him struggle one-on-one. So yeah, let's get rid of that myth because that's why he's playing Colwill. He said he wants more defensive stability.
Yeah, I just think when you can't break teams down, you're missing Colwill's passing capabilities.
Let's concede a goal to score a couple.
Hope to score a couple, but you can't score a couple. So don't even try that one anymore. Okay, Caicedo's obviously out. He's not been training for the last 4 days prior to recording this on Thursday.
Lavia's not ready.
So I would. Do you know what I'd try?
Yeah.
I think Leslie Ugochukwu was a good bright spark.
Big boy,
against
isn't
Bournemouth. I think for a 19-year-old, he really impressed me.
He's massive.
He is. He gets into advanced positions too, which we obviously need.
I love a big DM.
And I like that.
Yeah.
So
we haven't had a player like that physically imposing in the midfield since Matic either.
How about a little pivot of Enzo and Ugochukwu?
What would you do instead?
Well, I mean, Gallagher's been playing a lot, and Poch clearly likes him.
Oh, so you're suggesting they're Gallagher for this game?
I'm taking Gallagher out of my 11 for this one.
I thought he was one of our best players last game.
I don't think he was bad, but I also then just think, like, if you're trying to score, and then some of the decisions he made in the final third I thought were just poor. So I'd like to get 4 attackers on there I think can hurt Aston Villa. Yep. When you look at their record so far this year, if they're not on, they're conceding a load of goals.
I'll let you go for the rest of your team. I know which player we're going to have different already.
Okay, I'm going to tell you the rest of my team. Yeah. Noni Madueke on the right.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer in the middle is number 10. Raheem Sterling, left wing, back to where he used to play for City. And then 1 yellow card man away from suspension, Nicholas Jackson as the striker. Is that what you thought I was going to say or not? And the only reason I took out Mudryk, can I just say?
Yeah.
Is because I don't think Pochettino rates him. I really don't. I really don't think Pochettino rates him. And I think Noni probably still deserves to start over him, in my opinion. I really believe that. I think Noni Madueke could be a great footballer.
would not drop Conor Gallagher after his performance last game. I think he made. I think he made a bundle of chances. I thought he was really good last game. There was space, and I thought he looked really good. So for me, I would not be starting Madueke. I'd start Cole Palmer on the right because he looks like he's actually got some natural finishing instincts.
Yeah, maybe it's a bit more dynamic. He can come in off the right.
Yeah,
brilliant left foot.
Yeah, and also like I know there's all this chat about him playing number 10. I've also said, can we play number 10? But can he play number 10? I've not actually seen him play number 10.
No, I mean there's such a small sample size.
I've seen him. I think he did in the academy for City a little bit, but and he looks like he could do it. But I think get him on the right, get him cutting inside. I think there was that opportunity he had in the game. It was quite like an instinctive shot he had on goal. That's what I want to see. I want to see players not overthinking it, just shooting. So I definitely want to see him in and around the box. And I think Gallagher showed me enough on the ball last game to think, he can actually hurt Villa. So that's the only difference I have. But I do want to see Madueke play more. I think he's really exciting as a player. He seems like a good lad as well. Everything I see him in, he seems like a good character. And
he's becoming a bit more of like a face as well, I think, which Chelsea fans kind of need. At least I need that right now. I want to have like relatable players that can be like cornerstones for whatever this new era is going to be, which at the moment is still just a bit like up in the air and confusing. Like it's still good to try and get those players that you just really like.
I mean, what would be exciting about having Palmer and Madueke in the same team is that they're both really good 1v1 dribblers.
Yeah.
So if you could have him sort of drifting right, creating overloads with Madueke, having them going at the defenders and trying to get the ball in the box to one another to score whatever it is. I would actually really like to see that. So now I'm actually starting to think maybe your team's better. now I'm talking out loud.
That's what we're here for.
But I just think it's really unfair on Conor for him to be dropped off that last performance. He wore the armband last game as well, which actually we haven't really spoken about. But it was really interesting that Conor Gallagher got the armband when Enzo was on the pitch, when Thiago Silva was on the pitch. I thought that was curious, actually.
Do you know what? Do you know how I read this one? Enzo's just signed an 8.5-year contract. Pochettino, I think, really does like Gallagher. And I can see why from what he's seen so far.
Yeah.
And I think that is a message to the board who have been so, we'll get rid of him as the right offer comes in. And Poch is like, no. Actually, when it comes to the armband and the way I put Conor Gallagher in like the hierarchy of important players at Chelsea, I think Pochettino is like, well, they'll see that and be like, why didn't you give it to our new star boy? Why don't you give it to the 8.5-year Argentinian World Cup winner? And I think Pochettino did that to be like, actually, January's not as far away as you think it is, but don't put him in the shop window again, because if we sell him, and we've got half a squad now, but we sell him because the right offer comes in, because he's playing and he's doing well and he's improving. You can see Gallagher's become a better footballer since the end of last season. I think that's Poch's,
Yeah, so I like Gallagher. I don't really want to see him drop, but I also think he's much better as an 8 than a 6, and he's been playing 6 a little bit for us, which is mad because he actually had a lot of ball recoveries against Liverpool. Every game for me, he's shown something. He's shown a different element to his game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall what I really want to see from this game is I want to see like a controlled aggression from the players.
Yeah.
I want to see them
a
bit of urgency, and I want to see them go out and have a bit of arrogance about them. Like, believe that you are really good players.
Yeah, remember where you are.
Remember
as we
where
always
you
say
are.
to one another.
We're always saying this.
Yeah.
Remember where you are, and it's not, because I think they are trying. I don't think anybody's stopped trying. I don't think it's a question of that. But it's about backing yourself and knowing how good you are, and not because what's happening with us at the minute is we're getting panicky and we're rushing.
Yes, because confidence is low.
Exactly.
And it's breeding on itself.
Yeah, so even when we have a chance, bad decisions are being made. So the players need to just back themselves and know, we are actually good enough to do this. We don't need to snap at our shots. We don't need to rush. And I just want to see the players be like a kind of an angry calm almost. Like,
yeah.
You know, it sounds like a contradiction, but you know what I'm saying?
I do know exactly what you mean. There needs to be like a...
Ice cold, man. Ice in their veins, as they
Ice
say.
cold. And then I guess the final talking point before we go into some like predictions for the game. Nicholas Jackson has gone like a little bit like he was in the middle and then he was on the top Chelsea fans like radars of how much we like him, how much we're excited about him, and now it's like quite quickly going down because he just keeps on missing. So I think this game and the success of whether Chelsea get 3 more points or not hangs entirely on whether this man just puts the ball in the flipping net. Because the ball keeps coming in to the box and he just keeps on missing.
Or him and Sterling.
Yes. And I think this is where, as fans, the acceptance about where we're at, but where we want to be, and how long we're going to be where we're at right now, which we don't like, is all going to hang on how quickly his confidence comes.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong that there wasn't another striker signed, that was a high-profile one enough to take off and alleviate some of that pressure. But now we've got to deal with what we've got. We've got £1 billion squad, we've spent £1 billion, and yet we still don't have someone to score.
Yeah.
The sooner Jackson just puts that ball in, I think Chelsea's form can turn quickly, because I've seen enough positive.
Yeah.
Very hard to say it when results are just so trash.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to win this game.
But I think it's kind of a slight side point, but I think I'm really excited about Broha coming back. I think Armando Broha can be a massive component in his development, because it just takes a bit of the pressure off. We know if Broha's recovered properly from his injury, we know he can be a massive problem for teams.
I do agree.
And he's got Premier League experience. He's got pace. He's got power. You know he can score goals. So I'm a big Broha fan, and I think I think he could be like him and because I see them as fairly similar level strikers. They could really push each other. It could be really exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I agree with everything you said about Jackson, and I think he's got talent. I think he's got ability. It's just that composure. But look, it might never come, because no. But I'm not to sound pessimistic, but Sterling has never got it, and that's the problem right now with this, is that we don't have enough chances to have Raheem Sterling in that position. Yeah. When he was at City, I don't know what his shot conversion was, but it must have been quite bad. He scored a lot of goals, but he had a lot of chances. Yeah. So basically, the players that we've got in those positions are too profligate right now. That's why I think it's really important that we get Cole Palmer into the team, someone who looks like a really high-quality finisher.
Yeah, someone who's got that ability to actually just put it in.
But that's why I'm sort of like, Madueke is not the guy, like, I think, to come in and have the impact we need, because actually, like, we are creating chances. What we need is finishers. Yeah. We need players that are going to come in and be ice cold.
Bit of finesse in the final third.
Bit of calm, bit of composure, bit of technique.
So based on all of that, are we beating Aston Villa Sunday? 2 p.m. kickoff, same as a North London derby. Who does this? Who is scheduling these games at the minute? I want to watch that one as well. It's annoying.
This is the only game I want to watch. It's the only game I can watch. I can't deal with football right now. Should have seen my FPL score last week and all.
Mine was just as bad.
Oh, so sickening. Anyway, I think the problem is every game I can see a way that we score goals. So, like, I'm inclined to say like 2-2 or something like that, like a draw. But
that's a fair prediction.
But it's not, because we're scoring 2 goals in that scenario. And if we score 2 goals, then I don't think we should be conceding. Really.
You know what? I think game by game now, I'm just going to be like, look, I think we're creating enough chances. Soon we're going to have to start putting the ball in the net.
If we can't, right? This is the dumbest prediction ever, right? If we can't score, we're going to lose like 2 or 3-0, right? But if we get just 1 goal, I could see us going and winning maybe like 2-0. I think we need 1. I think we need 1 goal. I think we need 1 goal, because that will change the way we play. I think it will turn the players' confidence around. But also,
get Stamford Bridge rocking a bit too.
But it's like in I'm a big boxing fan. Yeah. I used to make boxing content for those who don't know. And they always say in boxing, one of the best things you can do is go out in round 1 and land a hard punch on your opponent. Let them know you've got power. Yeah. Because it makes them more cautious. It makes them more reserved. It means they're not going to be as gun-ho. It's the same thing with Chelsea right now. We've got to go out and hurt teams. We've got to score goals. Yeah. If we can go out and get an early goal, I think we can win the game. And I think everything hinges on scoring that first goal. Because if they get the first goal, we're screwed.
Yeah, I just don't see how. Yeah, if we go 1-0 down and every bit of excitement that we potentially expressed here today, if again we just see the same thing happen, it's just so continuous and constant right now. I think you're absolutely right. And Aston Villa are a team where they can be hurt right now, which is surprising.
Yeah, they're conceding a lot of chances. I think they concede like the 4th highest number of chances from set pieces of any team in the league or something. Yeah. So, they are vulnerable. Yeah.
I'd take a set piece goal. I would take an own goal from a corner if bloody, what's his face, Ezri Konsa just wants to like knock it in a little bit for us. That would be nice. But I'm gonna go 2-1 Chelsea. I think we. Well, I mean,
never give up, George.
Never give up on good things. Yes. On that note, mate, have you got any final words? Because if not, I'm going to wrap this one up.
Well, I just want to say that, like, we're all Chelsea fans, and we all want Chelsea to win, and I want Chelsea to win so badly. Like, you guys did not see how depressed and upset we were after that game last week.
It's been a rough week, I'll tell you that much.
We've all, I think in this period, we've all just got to support each other. I think like what really doesn't help is when you go online and you see Chelsea fans arguing over absolute nonsense.
Yeah,
like,
the Poch out thing. It's too early for that.
It's just ridiculous.
No need.
Like if anybody really believes that like Poch is the problem right now, you need your head checked. To be honest with you, and I just feel like I hope that the fan base can stick together. I hope things don't get toxic. because this is what the club have chosen as their direction. Even though we didn't ask for it, we're going to have to see it through and just find out what happens. So we're all in it together. Let's see what happens.
It's not easy. It's never easy being a Chelsea fan. There's always...
Well, it's been easier.
there's ups and downs. There's big ups and downs. But anyway, we're going to wrap things up here. If you did enjoy the podcast, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify potentially, if you're not, then go and drop the podcast a follow on both of those platforms and leave us a review so that we can keep on making these ones.
Preferably
keep making them better.
A 5-star one.
5-star one. Yeah, that's what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
Like a good one.
Only
if you enjoy it.
If you don't like it, actually don't review it.
Constructive feedback is
Yeah.
also very much appreciated. Going to do another preview tomorrow as well, just to go into this game a little bit more. I think maybe this was enough. I don't know, but I plan to do another preview after this one goes out.
If you want to see just his face without mine and with the upset.
Yeah, Harry's irritating.
Yeah, if I'm annoying you, which is fair enough, then, go and watch that video instead.
Yeah. Bye.